Hey everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Theory. So, you're probably here because we did see in the latest episode of X-Men 97, episode 9, titled Tolerance is Extinction Part 2. Of course, this is part of a trilogy of episodes, being last week Tolerance is Extinction Part 1, and then the finale will be Tolerance is Extinction Part 3. But there's a lot of questions raised in Tolerance is Extinction Part 2, specifically how the episode ends. So, real quickly, at the end of the episode, it's kind of hinted out throughout the episode that Wolverine has this poised agenda against Magneto, rightfully so. But in the comics, it kind of plays out a different way. We'll get into it. But by the end of the episode, in a final act, Wolverine stabs Magneto with his claws, puncturing him, but Magneto, in defense, uses his powers to rip the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton. This is taken right from X-Men Volume 2, issue number 25, pretty much identically with this scene. But we're going to go through what kind of happens in that comic book and kind of the aftermath and what we could assume could happen in maybe Season 2 of X-Men 97, because I believe Season 2 is a definite go at this point. So without further ado, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into the video. Magneto's decision to rip the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton, like I said before, it comes in X-Men Volume 2, issue number 25, and it was driven by many factors. Starting with Magneto and Wolverine having a long history of conflict. Magneto views Wolverine as a symbol of the human-mutant conflict and sees him as a threat to mutant kind. Magneto's actions are partially motivated by a personal vendetta against Wolverine and a desire to eliminate him as a potential obstacle to his vision for mutant supremacy. Magneto's attack on Wolverine is also a symbolic gesture intended to assert his dominance and superiority over humans and those mutants who ally with them, such as Wolverine and the other X-Men. By brutally incapacitating one of the X-Men's most powerful members, Magneto aims to send a message about the consequences of opposing him and his ideals. Magneto may also see the removal of Wolverine's adamantium as a tactical advantage in his ongoing conflict with the X-Men. By weakening Wolverine, who is one of X-Men's most powerful fighters, Magneto seeks to tip the balance of power in his favor and gain an edge in future confrontations with the mutant superhero team. The confrontation takes place at the X-Mansion, the headquarters of the X-Men in New York. The X-Mansion, as we know, is typically a place of refuge and training for the X-Men, but in this moment it becomes a major battleground and a dark twist. Little background, however, on Wolverine at this moment in the comic. There is the Legacy Virus, which is a disease in the Marvel Universe that specifically targets mutants. It was created by the mutant terrorist group known as the Acolytes, led by Fabian Cortez, who sought to eradicate non-mutants and establish mutant supremacy. The virus was initially engineered as a biological weapon to target humans, but mutated to become lethal to mutants. Wolverine's exposure to the Legacy Virus occurred during a battle with the Acolytes. While fighting the Acolytes, Wolverine sustained injuries that exposed him to the virus. It's important to note that Wolverine's remarkable healing factor initially suppressed the symptoms of the virus, preventing him from even realizing that he had been infected with this. Over time, the Legacy Virus began to take its toll on Wolverine's healing factor. His immune system struggled to keep the virus in check, leading to symptoms such as fatigue, weakness, and deterioration of his health. Wolverine's condition gradually worsened, and he eventually became aware of the virus infecting his body. The revelation of Wolverine's infection with the Legacy Virus had significant emotional and psychological damage for him. As a character who has lived for centuries and faced countless battles, Wolverine was confronted with the mortality in a profound way. The prospect of succumbing to the virus challenged his resilience and forced him to confront his own weaknesses. Wolverine's infection with the Legacy Virus had far-reaching consequences not only for him, but also for the X-Men and mutant kind as a whole. It highlighted the vulnerability of mutants to targeted threats and underscored the ongoing struggle for survival in a world where mutants are often persecuted and targeted. Magneto, aware of Wolverine's weakened state due to the Legacy Virus, sees an opportunity to strike a devastating blow against the X-Men as a whole. Using his powers of magnetism, Magneto infiltrates the X-Mansion undetected, bypassing all of the X-Men security measures. Magneto locates Wolverine within the confines of the X-Mansion and initiates the confrontation. Wolverine, ever vigilant, responds to Magneto's presence, recognizing the threat he poses. Despite his weakened state, Wolverine prepares to defend himself against Magneto. From the beginning, it becomes clear that Wolverine is outmatched by Magneto's powers. Magneto's control over magnetism grants him a significant advantage, allowing him to manipulate the environment and weaponize metallic objects against Wolverine. Despite the odds stacked against him, Wolverine refuses to back down, drawing upon his combat skills and unyielding determination. Wolverine launches a relentless assault against Magneto, refusing to succumb to Magneto's powers. In a moment of shocking brutality, Magneto unleashes his full extent of his powers, manipulating the adamantium bonded to Wolverine's skeleton. With a display of terrifying force, Magneto forcefully rips the adamantium from Wolverine's body, inflicting excruciating pain and leaving him gravely wounded. And as we know, so this happened in the X-Mansion, like I said earlier, but this will actually happen on Asteroid M in X-Men 97, Tolerance's Extinction Part 2. So it's a little bit of a difference here, but the ending scene is just matched pretty much exact to the comic where it happened. The aftermath of Magneto's attack is chaotic and devastating. Wolverine is left in critical condition, and his body is ravaged by the loss of the adamantium that has been part of him for years. The other X-Men rush to Wolverine's aid, grappling with shock and horror at the extent of Magneto's brutality. Then we go into another comic called Wolverine the Adamantium Agenda, which was a limited series published by Marvel in 2018. In this storyline, Wolverine does regain his adamantium, so let's summarize this part of the comic now. The story revolves around Wolverine's quest to uncover the truth about his past and reclaim his adamantium, which has fallen into the wrong hands. The story begins with a mysterious group stealing genetic material from various mutants, including Wolverine, Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and Omega Red. These samples contain DNA that can be used to create powerful weapons. Wolverine, along with his allies, set out to track down the stolen genetic material and prevent it from being misused. Wolverine discovers that Sabretooth has been working with the villains behind the theft and has willingly provided his genetic material. This revelation leads to a confrontation between Wolverine and Sabretooth. Wolverine at this point probably is not matched up to Sabretooth, being that Sabretooth has the adamantium in his body, but going against all odds, Wolverine eventually prevails. With Apocalypse's help, Wolverine undergoes a procedure to reclaim his adamantium from Sabretooth. The process is successful and Wolverine emerges with his adamantium skeleton restored. But we do see at a point Wolverine teams up with Apocalypse. Now, I do want to say Apocalypse was put into the intro of X-Men 97. He is seen fighting Cable, and I just find it weird that there's been so many scenes of Cable in the show. Why would they use the one specific to Cable and Apocalypse fighting? I originally theorized that Apocalypse would be one of the villains that would be working with Bastion and Mr. Sinister and Bolivar Trask, but it seems like that's not what they're going with it. But maybe this is another hint to maybe a potential season 2 thing where Wolverine will team up with Apocalypse to regain his adamantium. I think this would be a pretty cool thing, and I honestly could see this happening. I don't know if they'll take it, word from the comic, but they will use something like that maybe as reference, as inspiration. But that's pretty much how Wolverine lost the adamantium in him. He is fine after that, but he is in a little bit of a weakened state. I do believe in the comics he starts to go a little more animalistic until he eventually regains the adamantium. This is what I gathered from the internet, so I'm probably going to check those out because I'm very interested after seeing X-Men 97. Again, we only have one episode left of X-Men 97, and I believe that there will be a season 2, so maybe we could see Wolverine kind of for a few episodes, kind of similar to Storm when she lost her powers. We could kind of see Wolverine go on his own journey and regain his adamantium. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know what you're thinking of the series so far. Leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and have an incredible day.